And then I realized the person I compete with most is just me. It's you versus you. Really, the two things I want to say are, you got to be the hardest workers in the room, and don't f the opportunity out. For me, the drive just comes from wanting to do more. Everyone's my competition, but a fundamental key that I've learned over the years is, and I'll share it with you, my number one competition is me. It's always you versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success. No coach, no trainer, no mentor, no boss can do it. You versus you. If it's worth something to you, you got to put in the effort. The thing that has worked for me is to remember the hard times. Social media may be the tip of the iceberg that you allow people to see, but it's everything underneath the water that they don't see. I always like to say it's the work we put in when nobody's watching that really matters.
The person who goes to the gym every single day, regardless of how they feel, will always beat the person who goes to the gym when they feel like going to the gym. It's just this anchoring philosophy of, yes, being the hardest workers in the room, but also, probably more importantly than that, is just this idea of pushing past the fatigue and us doing the daily consistent that we don't feel like doing.
I mean, you have to work hard.
My back is up against this motherfucker. Every day, it's against this fucking wall. But it's up against this motherfucker because it's what I believe in. And when my back is against this motherfucker, then there's nowhere to go but that way. That's it.
When I wake up in the morning, I have got to be running towards the thing that I want to do.
Look, I don't want to work out at midnight. My babies are going to be up in 5 hours, but I know when I don't want to work out at midnight, well, that's when I have to work out.
What I have found, and I'm sure you guys will agree, is that when you take that kind of action, that kind of step of following your gut and your intuition, taking that step, whatever it is, the universe has a funny way of meeting you halfway.
How hard do you actually work? Meaning what the audience doesn't see. How hard do you actually work, DJ?
Hard. I mean, it's easy, I think, when you go to work, you got a lot of people around, you galvanize everybody, you could feel the momentum and the energy start to go. And not to oversimplify the work, but it leads to work begets work. So if we're all together in a room, we're gonna work, but it's the stuff you do on your own, away from everybody, really that matters. So you gotta put in the work. How hard do I work? I work hard. Everybody in this room knows if it's worth something to you, you got to put in the effort. When I wake up in the morning, I have got to be running towards the thing that I want to do and not walking towards it. Not, I really don't feel like doing this, or God, why did I agree to do this? Or why did I get into this business with somebody at such? I got to be running to it. And I realized that if I'm able to do that, get up in the morning and run to it, then I'm in that place of joy and happiness. Doesn't mean that the work goes away, the work ethic goes away, you work even harder, but so I got to run towards it. So the second part to this, to answer you directly, is I don't know if there's anything that I could point to and say, I've never done that, therefore I want to do it. But I can tell you that what I do these days, I run to, I love. So what I realized is now it has to be the thing that I do, has to be the thing that I love to do. And therefore, almost like Hollywood conformed years ago, I found that if it's the thing I'm running to and I love to do, then everybody comes with me.
I know when I don't want to work out at midnight, well, that's when I have to work out at midnight. I'm glad I did. I came in here, pushed myself, pushed past the fatigue. But more importantly than the physicality part, I think, is just being able to come in here, set the edge, the psychological edge, and just recalibrate from a long day, think about what I'm doing tomorrow, what I want to do the next week, month, year, etc. So I would highly recommend to you guys of doing the daily consistent that you don't want to do, push past it, because there's so many people who aren't willing to do it at all.
To become one of one and to go for as many years as you've gone, and the highs and the lows and the losses and the injuries and the setbacks and all this other stuff that you go through, what drives you?
I can trace back my my work ethic to, we were evicted out of we had a little efficiency apartment in Hawaii, and we were evicted out of there, couldn't pay the rent. The rent was $280 a month. We eventually got kicked out. When we got kicked out, I was 15 years old. I'll never forget it. I was standing there at the door. There was not the padlock, but the notice. In that moment, I saw my mom crying, and I'm a mama's boy, and that kind of pain really impacted me. And I thought then, I want to do everything that I can to make sure we never get evicted like this again, and make sure that she's never this upset again. I didn't even know what that meant at 15 years old. It just meant I have to work. I have to work. I have to do something with my own two hands. I love the competition. I love to win. And I also love to learn. I don't say lose, I say I love to learn. I reached this point in my career where I started to realize, I've done pretty good, and we're sitting up top on this mountain. And I realized this happened it was a big revelation for me about a year ago, where I thought, okay, I'm on top of this mountain. A few things can happen from here. I reached this point in my life. We could either stay here and enjoy the view and bask in it, or we could go back down the mountain, right off into the sunset. And I thought, well, the first two don't seem like it's in my DNA. I understand what he meant in his limited capacity to love. He meant, look, I live in this little apartment in Tampa, right up the road, I-75. I don't want this life for you. I think there's more for you out there. And I said, yeah, but I got to follow my gut and my instinct. Along the road of life, we always have these moments that are seminal moments where sometimes it's a loved one like my old man, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a boss, sometimes it's a stranger who says, you can't do it, you're not good enough, don't even try, pack your stuff and go home. Same thing happened to me in Hollywood. The most important thing is to be what I was and am and will be tomorrow, and that's real. And again, that's when everything starts to conform. Hollywood conformed. And I find and what I have found, and I'm sure you guys will agree, is that when you take that kind of action, that kind of step of following your gut and your intuition, taking that step, whatever it is, the universe has a funny way of meeting you halfway.